Hello everybody. So today we're going to be chatting about how you can get more Instagram followers in 2026. So if you've been around in the social media game for quite some time, you've probably realized that getting followers is definitely a lot different than it was, back in the day, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. I definitely have noticed a huge difference. In some ways, I feel like it's a bit more difficult, but on the flip side, some ways I feel like it's actually a bit easier. Now, just to give a bit of a disclaimer, your account is super unique. So what works for one person may not work for you and vice versa. So take these suggestions with a grain of salt. I'm going to give you quite a handful today that you can definitely start implementing as soon as today. And you may notice that some of these definitely work better for you than others. So when looking at your analytics, if you notice that one tip definitely outweighs another tip, then you know that you should be implementing that certain suggestion more often. And the other one just may not be appropriate for you and your style and your demographic. And that is totally okay. So get a pen and paper. We're about to dive into the tips on how to get more Instagram followers in 2026. So one of the first tactics that could definitely be super, super helpful and valuable is Instagram ads. So Instagram ads are really awesome in my opinion because you could get super specific in the actual targeting. Let's just say your ideal target audience is women who live in Toronto who are between the ages of 25 and 35, who are into, home decor and interior design and that kind of thing. You could literally go into the back end of the Instagram ads creator and target exactly that demographic, super, super specific. So your posts and your page will be pushed out to those people. When you scroll through your main feed and you see a little text underneath or above a certain image that says sponsored, that means that that creator has done that exact same thing and you were their ideal, demographic. A lot of the ads I see day to day are definitely stuff that I have looked up, in my history. So if you have a super specific audience in mind you really, really want to target, but are having a difficult time doing it on your own organically, ads are a really awesome tool, so highly recommend those. Now you're probably thinking, well, how much is this going to cost me? And I guess there's good news and bad news. There's no really real right or wrong number to put in. Of course, the more money you put in, the more people are going to see your ad, so the more you're going to get out of it. If you wanted to, you could spend $20 a day on the low end, and if you have the budget, you could spend hundreds, if not thousands a day. It is really your call. If you're brand new to ads, I always recommend starting out very modestly, just because I don't want you to put tons of money into an ad and it doesn't perform well and, it's very frustrating. So I'm starting with around $20 or $30 as an initial budget is typically what I recommend. And then you can see how that one goes. And if you're super happy with it, the next ad you could put in a bit more. And if you're not so happy with it, you can analyze it and see what could potentially be done better the next time around. And then just basically go from there. It's about experimentation. I always like to remind people, I never want to make guarantees when it comes to ad outcomes. You are making the ad. Instagram does give you a potential idea of what you can expect. So for example, it'll say we estimate between 5 and 10 accounts reached, or 1,000 to 2,000 accounts reached, depending on how much you put in. But that is not an actual 100% promise. It's just a general kind of baseline. And then when it comes to ads, there are different outcomes you could select. You could select more profile visitors, more engagement, more reach. There are a lot of really good options. So it just comes down to what you really have in mind and what your main outcome is. When you do multiple ads, it's also highly recommended to write down somewhere how they actually are doing. So that way, when you go in to make more ads in the future, you can look back at your history and your data and see what went well and what didn't went well. So you're not going in making new ads once a week, just guessing, how things are going to go. You have data to back up what you're actually doing. So that is the first hack or tip I guess you could do. And then another tip I recommend to a lot of my clients is organizing giveaways, contests, or offering some sort of a coupon code. So I'll give 2 examples based on both a product or a service-based business. So if you have a product you sell, basically you could do a promotion giving away 1 or 2 or even 3 of those products away for free as a contest to your audience. So basically, the main rules to enter the contest would be to follow you and maybe comment something down below, so it's easy to track, who is actually entering. So let's say you have, I'm just thinking of something simple. Let's say you have a stationery business and you have a journal that you'd like to give away to one of your followers. A sample caption could be something along the lines of, hey everyone, I'm super grateful to have such a strong and supportive community. As a special thank you, I'd like to give away, 3 of my journals to 3 lucky winners. All you have to do is follow me and comment down below why you love journaling, and 1 winner will be announced 1 week from today, or something in that kind of ballpark. If you want, you could even just put what I just said into ChatGPT and have it put something polished together for you that is relevant in your industry. And then if you wanted to go the extra mile with that giveaway, you can even boost it on Instagram, so that way it gets put out to exactly who you want to enter. When it comes to picking the winner, you could either pick someone randomly, manually on your own, or there are a couple services or websites, I should say, out there that pick the winner randomly for you. If that's a bit easier for you, go into Google and literally just type in, Instagram contest giveaway selector, and I'm exaggerating, a really healthy handful of sites will come up. I've used them time and time again over the years. The names are escaping me, to be completely honest, but it's super easy to find them, I promise. And then once the contest ends, you could either do a post on your main feed announcing the winners, or you could just send them a direct message letting them know, hey, you won my giveaway. All I need is your name and your address, and I'll send you the product, or something along those lines. It's really up to you how you want to organize it. But at the end of the day, as long as you have a winner and they get their products, that's all that matters. So that's a pretty awesome way to get new followers. So a bonus tip I like to recommend at the end of the contest is doing an additional post, just letting people know that the contest is over and you appreciate everyone who entered. And then as a thank you to everyone who entered but didn't win, you could offer them a coupon code or something along those lines that they can use to shop. So it kind of gives them an incentive to keep up with the page, and of course visit your site to shop, and then remind them that there'll be more giveaways coming in the near future. So that way they'll keep their eyes open on your page and they won't miss out on anything. And then the exact same thing basically can go for a service. So if you are a hairdresser or a plumber or a painter or something along those lines, of course this could go for any service. You can offer to give 1, 2, or 3 lucky winners a free service, basically. So again, if you're a hairdresser, you can offer them a free haircut or a free blow dry. If you are a painter, you can offer to paint, 1 room in their home for free. It really is your call, what you feel comfortable doing. But yeah, giveaways are a really awesome tool, and they also build a ton of momentum, so people could regularly keep up with the page. So far, just to summarize, we have discussed doing ads and doing giveaways as awesome techniques to help grow your followers. And then the next hack we're going to touch base on is studying your analytics. So studying your stats is so important. For most of my clients, I typically do reports every 2 weeks, so I can clearly see what's working and what's not working. Sometimes if you just go in and post blind based on what you're feeling that day or that week, it can be hard to kind of know off the top of your head what type of content your audience really does like. There's so much stuff you could put out there. Honestly, the list goes on and on. And I feel like there's no right or wrong answer about what makes good content. It depends a lot on what your audience just likes to see and what you're, really great at making content-wise. So if you look at your analytics and you see that videos significantly outperform photos, you know, okay, I'm going to do a lot more videos because my audience really likes that, and that's going to help me get more followers. But that could also be the other way around. Maybe based on your analytics, your audience really prefers photos to videos, and that's totally okay. There's no right or wrong answer. Numbers do not lie. So if you clearly see that one type of content outperforms another, posting that style regularly can really, really help. So I feel like that's more of an easy to implement tip. It's just really looking at the numbers. I'm personally a big fan of just a basic Excel sheet. So you could just go in the columns and write, date, followers, web clicks, reach, etc. Just really the main stuff. You don't have to go nitty gritty into everything. And then, just set a reminder on your phone. So every other Monday, you go in and quickly jot down how things have been going. So that way, maybe once a month, you can sit down at the end of the month and see how you did, and that can help you better plan your content going forward. And if you want to go the extra mile, which I do recommend, this will only take you like 5-10 minutes. You can make a column that just says, top performing posts from this period, and you could just copy and paste the link to the best post that you made in that 2-week period. And by best post, I mean the post that had the highest number of likes and comments, so you can get an idea more specifically when making new content what type of styles to repeat. There's nothing wrong. In fact, I think it's a good thing to repurpose content that does really, really well, because the truth is, when you post something, I don't know, a month ago or even 2 weeks ago, it could sometimes get buried. Literally redoing just in slightly different ways content that has done well is a really awesome technique. So for example, this video is all about how to grow Instagram followers in 2026. If this ends up doing well, I might do one next year on how to get more Instagram followers in 2027. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then the last technique I'm going to touch base on, I feel like may be a little self-explanatory, but honestly, it is the truth. It is, I guess this is kind of like a 2-in-1 tip to post really great content and regularly engage with your community. So many times I'll come across a lot of really great content out there, and there are tons of comments asking questions or even just giving a compliment, like saying, hey, I love this post. And the owner of the account or the manager of the account just doesn't respond. And that is not something that I advise. I totally get that, responding to comments can be a little bit boring. I know it's the truth, honestly. It's not always the most fun activity. But even setting aside 5-10 minutes a day or every other day to respond to everything in bulk is so, so important. You don't want your audience to think that you don't care and you're not seeing their comments and not acknowledging their comments. Because people do remember that. When I comment on someone's post and they respond back saying, hey, thanks, I really do appreciate it. And it kind of encourages me to leave more comments more often. And the more comments and likes you get, the more the algorithm understands it, and realizes that, hey, this piece of content is really great, so I'm going to show it to more people. So the more comments and likes, the better. And you responding back to those comments does really help. So if someone just comments, hey, this is great, hey, I love this, hey, this is awesome, simply responding back, thank you so much. If you want, you can insert their name. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And then including a smile emoji or something is awesome. And then if they obviously comment with a question like, hey, what is this? What's the price? What are your hours? Something along those lines. Just responding back, hey, name, our hours are 9 to 5. Hey, name, this costs $20. That's it. Super easy. And that's all you gotta do, 5 minutes a day. And then as you keep making content, you may even notice that you get the same questions on a regular basis. So if it's easier for you, you can make a saved template somewhere on your phone that you can copy and paste the answers to, if that's a bit easier for you. But that's super optional. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. So engagement is super, super key. And then of course, making great content is super, super key. It is obviously a process to get